Hi, this is Dean Tenney, and I'm coming to you from my studio here in fabulous Las Vegas. What I'd like to do is kind of a back and fill operation here. On the channel, we always have in the various series playlists. We have in those playlists usually a couple narrative lectures, at least two. I mean, seven, we got like 20 of them. We have an explication of the content outline, and we typically have some practice finals. And so that's what we can look forward to as we build out, excuse me, the Series 24 playlist. Right now, all I have on the Series 24 playlist is the trading and market making lecture. I will follow that shortly with a lecture on net capital, fiscal responsibility, and I'll follow that with a lecture on investment banking and research, corporate finance. So that will give us, when we build out this Series 24 playlist, 3 narrative lectures. And then we always, at the header, and that's what today is, at the header of the playlist, we have usually from the content outline, how to pass series, you name it, number, by knowing series. So, for example, I have on the front of the Series 7 playlist, how to pass the Series 7 by knowing the Series 7. And what I do is what I am doing right now, which is kind of tell the candidate, here's what you can expect on the Series 7. In this case, here's what you can expect on the Series 24. And, when people say, well, Dean, how do you know that's not on my Series 24 test? I said, well, they're not allowed to make up things randomly. I mean, they have to have it in the content outline if they plan on doing that. So, as I explicate, and that's the next thing we do on the channel, we explicate the content outline. So I'll, have a function 1 explication. I'll say, okay, in this explication, we'll be going through the Series 24 content outline function 1, because that's how they design this. They design these exams based on job functions, supervising the registration of the broker dealer and its personnel. That would be, Form BD, U4s, U5s, 10-year, 5-year, 3 years in terms of, that U4, and then U5 disassociation, 2 years, jurisdictional retention, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's only 9 questions. I was tempted to actually just do the explication of function 1 in this header and say, this is the introduction to pass the Series 24, know the Series 24, and explicate function 1 in the same. And I thought better to kind of cut it up and make it a little more digestible chunks. But if you miss the mark on the 24, it's not going to be function 1. Function 2, supervision of broker dealers. And let me get a different color. Broker dealers and activities. The activities of the broker dealer. That's 45 questions. And that is the biggest section on the exam, right? So now it becomes a little more meaningful. Now, I have many 24 classes where everybody passes. But when I lose somebody, it's usually fiscal responsibility and trading and market making and banking, things they're not familiar with. You'll know if you fit this at-risk category. People taking 24 a lot of times have been retail people with a 7. Nothing wrong with that. And most of what we need to do with a 7, and to be honest with you, as a broker dealer, can probably be done with packaged products, primarily mutual funds. And then what happens is then they get in this area of things that are not as readily recognizable, let's say. So as I told you, the next lecture that will be in the playlist is on net capital, fiscal responsibility. That's going to be about, 17A11, 15.3-1, net capital, fiscal responsibility. What happens if you violate those rules on net capital, SIPC liquidation. So that'll be our second one. And, people may not be familiar with that. So I'm going to play in that lecture financial operations principle to your general securities principle, because usually the 27, the FinOp works for you. And so I'll take that kind of perspective as I do that lecture. And then trading and market making is already up there on the channel. So I'm sorry, supervision, retail, institutional, customer related, that's 32. And then the trading and market making, as I told you, is already up on the channel. And I think that's target rich for what it is. I think it's about an hour, and definitely check that out. I think that's good. And then the third lecture I'll put on the channel in terms of the playlist will be supervision of investment banking and research. So We already have the trading and market making narrative lecture. We'll follow that up with fiscal responsibility. That'll be narrative lecture number 2. We'll follow that up with narrative lecture number 3 on the investment banking. And then also I'll do an explication of each of these functions. I'll just be rolling through each of these functions and going through that. All right, so I told you who you are if you're at risk. Let me clean up my slide here. And to know, to pass the series 24, know the series 24. And so we're looking at this going through the job functions. And I'll put up there the explications. So explications are, you look at the video list and it's a explication of series 24, function 1, supervision of registration and market making. Now you're going to get 100 and I call test questions performance opportunities. You're going to get 150 performance opportunities on the exam, right? So 150 of these things. You get 10 experimental questions. Those are questions you say, I don't remember Dean ever talking about this. This wasn't in my study materials. You just got to guess B, assign it to the universe and move on. And then you're not going to run out of time. I mean, you might run out of right answers on the exam, but you shouldn't run out of time. And the easiest way to make sure you're not going to run out of time, you get 3 hours and 45 minutes to get this done, is again to, make sure you've done a practice final and done that. So you get 3 hours and 45 minutes to get this done. Now you only need a 70%. And boy, that's kind of cool. I mean, I joke in the real world, if you made a bad supervisory call 3 out of 10 times, we would be in serious hot water. So that's a good thing that you need 70%. And then they equate that, and that's what you're going to get. So let me just give you a quick example of what the explication will look like when we get that done. So when I do the explication, what I simply do is I just go through here and I say, okay, what do you need to know about the SEC? The SEC has, let me get a different color here. Boom. Still I give me a different color. And I just do this through the whole thing. Basically, I just go through the whole thing saying, there we go. The SEC has primary jurisdiction, interpretation, and enforcement of the domestic securities laws of the United States of America. But the key point is that is not, that is not an SRO. I mean, if they call me, they say, Dean, FINRA is on line 1. The SEC is on line 2. I'm picking up line 1. They say, Dean, do you know who we are? I say, oh, yeah, you got primary jurisdiction, interpretation, and enforcement of the domestic securities laws of the United States of America. Now, remember, there's not a whole lot of questions here. And then, I'll say the SRO that you need to be aware of is, again, give me a different color here, is FINRA. And we'll talk about FINRA's code of procedure, FINRA's code of conduct, and then you're registering the broker dealer with FINRA with Form BD. You would fill out Form BD to start your own brokerage firm with both the SEC and FINRA. FINRA is the SRO. And then, the state requirements, you have to register the broker dealer with the state administrator if you have an office in the state or you have any retail clients in the state. Anyways, that's what the explication, obviously I would expand on that quite a bit in the explication, but that gives you a good general idea of what that looks like, right? And then I'll tell you, if you don't have any retail clients in the state and no office in the state, then the broker dealer doesn't be registered in the state. All right, so I hope that's helpful. I know I've already got more than I thought. I didn't know what the audience was going to be. I wasn't sure what the audience was going to be with 424, but that one lecture has had some really positive people calling and saying, hey, Dean, we appreciate it. So I'll continue to build that out. And so I'll be posting this as the header to that playlist. And then, as I said, coming attractions, the next thing that will be in the playlist will be a narrative lecture on net capital. followed by a narrative lecture on investment banking and research, followed by the continuing explication of the content outline. And then at some point, if we get enough people, we'll put up a practice final. We have 4 practice finals on 7. We have a practice final in 65, 66, and SIE. And so, I continue to add content to the channel. All right. Well, thanks for your viewership. If you like this, please put like, subscribe, comment. I'm very good at responding to comments rather quickly, so you can do that as well. All right. Thank you.